Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Flyers news and rumors here at the Hockey Writers. I'm your host, Matvei Zator, and as always, joined in by Justin Giampietro here. Justin, how's it going?
I'm doing well. If we're going straight into the Flyers, they've dropped a few games in a row. I'm not sure if this is their longest losing streak, but they're getting points, but they're losing in shootout, overtime. It was back-to-back shootouts, I believe.
Yeah.
Both to Carolina over the weekend. So you hope the puck luck kind of goes the other way when you get to the shootout. The Flyers have been very good in the shootouts, and it just didn't go for them this time. So it's interesting. They win their first 5, then they lose back-to-back in the shootout to Carolina. So maybe that was unsustainable. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, they got 2 points out of it. I guess that's the consolation of it, I guess. Both close games against a really good team in the Hurricanes. So that's, I guess, something you can hang your hat on. One thing, we're not going to talk about Quinn Hughes in this. So we have talked about him on these videos a lot. He's now a Minnesota Wild. So we will talk about something we have talked about a lot, and that's Rick Tocchet and Matvei Michkov and their relationship. Biggest thing is he keeps harping on his shape, and that's just it. It's getting a bit tiresome, right? So with Michkov and Tocchet there.
Yeah, for me personally, it just bugs me a lot. There will be completely unrelated, interview questions, and Tocchet will just incessantly bring this up. Something that happened. The offseason was 6 months ago?
Yeah.
And he continuously brings up Michkov's out of shape, this and this and that. And it gets to a point. He was interviewed by NHL Network recently. He was asked about a ton of players. He was asked about Dvorak. He was asked about Zegras. He was asked about Vladar. All really praised throughout. Then he gets asked about Michkov, and of course, he can't help himself. He criticizes him first thing that comes out of his mouth. After Pat Maroon, who was interviewing him, one of the people interviewing him, kind of set him up. He teed him up for just praise the kid, and he just couldn't do it. Again, I don't know if there's an issue. I'm not either one of them. I don't know what the issue is, but it gets to a point where you just have to let it go for the best interest of your team. You look at last year in Vancouver. I'm not sure how much he influenced the Elias Pettersson, JT Miller drama. Maybe that was just them, but that is a bad track record. And that was one of the question marks going into this year. How is he able to handle a locker room? And clearly so far, not too well.
Yeah.
So this is your franchise player, right? I get the tough love. I get it. But at some point, you just got to let it go.
Mm-hmm. I think, too, and you can't keep going on it until you get to a point where Michkov's like, I don't want to be here. And then all of a sudden, you're having to deal with a whole other set of things and trauma and stuff like that. So it's got to get to a point where either Michkov gets, had some trust that, that Tocchet trusts him, and all that. But yeah, it was a thing in Vancouver with that shape, big guys being in shape and stuff like that. That was an issue here too with some players. So it's not a new thing with Tocchet for sure. All right, well, let's shift to another young player, and Ty Murchison. He's got 3 games under his belt now with the Flyers, or 4. I don't know if this has been updated since this game, but he's got a few games ready, and he's looking pretty good. He has no points, but so it'll be 4 games. The Hurricanes one from today isn't added. So, how do you think he's looked early on in his career here?
From watching a lot of Phantoms games this year, I wasn't sure. I was kind of curious how he'd fit in, but he's played pretty well. Maybe even arguably better than he was in the AHL, which is kind of surprising. Nothing crazy, but he is holding his own in his own zone. And he is outscoring the opposition. He is outchancing the opposition at 5-on-5. And for a depth defenseman, that's really all you could ask for. Now he's only getting this opportunity because of injuries to Cam York and Rasmus Ristolainen. York's injury lingering, as we kind of alluded to, that it may linger because day to day is always, it's always so fishy. You never know.
Yeah.
A little bit longer than day to day. This was, I believe, last Thursday or last Wednesday that he got hurt against Buffalo. So we're waiting. Hopefully he comes back at some point. But again, Murchison has filled in well, and he'll probably be demoted to the AHL, even though he has played well. But it is nice to have that reassurance that you have something there in the AHL if you get hurt. Every team needs a guy like that. I mean, the Flyers have a lot of guys in their farm system who have played in the NHL. I mean, they've shuffled through a bunch of guys on the bottom pair because nobody was really clicking. Murchison is one of those guys who has clicked, as opposed to some veteran guys who just haven't, found their way this season. So it's encouraging, especially for a young player like him. He's still only 22 years old, a 5th-round pick in 2021. So just becoming a pro this year. So it's a good step forward in his career. He has a lot of time to develop, maybe like 3, 4, maybe even 5 years to really hit his peak form. So maybe this is just the beginning. So who knows what's in his future, but if this is the floor, then that's very good.
Not traditionally a big point producer in his career. I mean, in college, he wasn't big. He never eclipsed 10 points or never eclipsed 7. So, I mean, he's not going to be known to be a big offensive guy, but I mean, to be just solid, I think that's all you really ask for from a guy like that, especially a 5th-round pick. So, I mean, that's already looking pretty good for the Flyers early on in his career here. All right, I know you wanted to talk about this before we get to the World Juniors. We'll close it out with the World Juniors talk. And that's the fact that the Flyers aren't a very entertaining team. And that's not good for a product you're trying to keep fans in the building. And, you want people to watch the games, not say, I don't really care what's happening because it's very boring to watch. What do you think about, the Flyers' kind of style of play early on this season?
So boring is a very objective word or subjective word. Some people think that if they're winning, who cares? That's entertaining to them. And I respect that. I respect that viewpoint. But in my eyes, they are kind of a boring team. And what is the primary goal of an NHL hockey team? It is not to win the Stanley Cup. It is to entertain fans. That is the primary goal. If it was to win the Stanley Cup, the Canucks and Flyers, they would have relegated so long ago.
Yeah, right.
It's to be fun. Hockey is supposed to be fun. And if it's not fun, what's the point? That's kind of how I view it there. When the Flyers get to late in regulation and it's a tie game, they will go full shutdown mode. They won't even try to send a puck up the ice. It is full dump in mode if they're even trying to enter the offensive zone. It is full shutdown mode. And even in overtime, 3-on-3 overtime, this was supposed to be an exciting addition to the league. 4-on-4 just wasn't generating enough goals, too many shootouts. So they made 3-on-3 maybe 10 or so years ago. And now 3v3 has become this, let's just try to get to a shootout thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as what 4-on-4 was, but even more egregious. So that's just the Flyers play style. And especially when you've lost your last 2 shootouts and you're actively trying to get to there, it's just not great on paper. Again, you're allowed to think that the Flyers are fun. They're in a playoff spot, something that they really haven't been a lot in the last maybe 15 or so years. Since 2013, they've missed the playoffs a lot. They missed the playoffs from 2013 to now more times than they did from their inception in 1967 to 2012. They've missed the playoffs a lot, and they haven't been very fun or winning at all. So winning the way that they are, they're in a wild card spot. That is exciting to fans. But at the end of the day, you want to be exciting
Mm.
to the general fan population. And if you're not, well, that doesn't end well. Usually it doesn't end well. So I can't see Tocchet changing his style overnight. That's just not very likely, but it is an issue that the Flyers aren't
Mm.
fun. I know that sounds silly because you got to win and you got to win the Stanley Cup, but that's not the goal at the end of the day. Hockey is
Yeah.
supposed to be enjoyable to fans. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah. I mean, it is true. And the thing is, I mean, there's how many years was the Devils? They played boring hockey and they won a bunch of cups and stuff like that. So, I mean, it works to win games. But it's not very fun to watch as a fan. And that's just, I've experienced it in Vancouver too with, I mean, not Tocchet, just funny because Tocchet in his first season with the Canucks, I thought it was quite exciting. He didn't do that. And all of a sudden he switched it to what he is now. So I don't know what it was. It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers or something. It's something he got swapped apparently. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, it is tough to watch a dump and chase all the time and trying to shut it down where it's not fun to watch for sure. All right, let's finish with the World Juniors, which is going to be an exciting, always an exciting tournament to watch every year. And the Flyers may have a few players involved in the tournament.
Yeah, they have. I can't remember how many they had last year or the year before, but I think they're going to have 6 players this year. Obviously, rosters are not finalized yet. Tournament starts December 26th, so sometime before then they'll be finalized. So as we're recording, under 2 weeks here.
Mm-hmm.
So the Flyers have a lot of guys, 2025 guys and 2024 draftees. Jet Lachenko is one of the bigger ones, I would say. He'll be representing Canada again. Well, not exactly confirmed, but he's gonna play, and it'll be interesting to see what his role is this year because last year he was more bottom 6, penalty kill only. I believe he scored a shorthanded goal last year for Canada, and it was not a very good offensive tournament for them. They lost early. It was kind of a disaster for them, but he was, to me, one of the bright spots. So, second-year guy now. We'll see if he can, elevate his game. Another guy who is returning is Porter Martone, and this year he's definitely going to be on the top line. He is in my eyes, one of the premier players on that roster. Might even be better than someone like Gavin McKenna, who is a top prospect for the 2026 NHL draft. Martone, he is incredible, and he's very, very fun to watch. In college this year, I think he's taken a big step up in his game. And, I mean, to watch him internationally against even guys younger than who he's playing against in college, I think it could be very fun, especially with these super talented line mates. Canada is obviously a powerhouse. Yes, they haven't won a lot recently, but they are a very good team. So if he's allowed to unleash his potential, it could be a very strong tournament for him. Finland is another team that Flyers fans will want to look at. Max Westergaard, he was a 5th round pick by the Flyers this past draft, and I thought he was underdrafted by a lot. I did his prospect profile. I had him around that late 2nd round, maybe early 3rd round range as a prospect grade. And to me, he's proven me right so far. He's rotated between the SHL and the Swedish Junior League, the top Swedish Junior League. He's absolutely annihilated juniors. He is way too good for that. So he is more so kind of a depth SHL player, and that is a legit league. To be a depth player in that league at 18 years old, he was one of the youngest players in last year's class, by the way. He's a very hardworking player, and that's what coaches love. And I think when you have that skill against these younger players, he's playing now against older guys, but when he's played against younger guys, he's really dominated, and he's a hardworking guy, and that that's going to be good wherever they want to place him. First line, second line, third line, fourth line, doesn't matter. I think he'll have an impact. A returnee, Heikki Ruohonen, a fourth round pick, I believe, in 24 by the Flyers. He's returning. He had a great tournament last year in Finland's run to the gold. They did lose, but he was a big player for them. And again, as a returnee, you develop a little bit more. So that's a guy definitely to look out for, because if he has a good tournament, then it's good for his trajectory. Another guy, Jack Berglund, another 2024 draft pick, second round. He's going to be playing for Sweden. Last year, he got hurt before the tournament even started. He was supposed to play, but he got injured, and that really stunk. But he should be playing this year, and he's not necessarily this high-impact offensive player, but he has been solid in the Swedish Hockey League this year. I've seen a couple of his games, more so a depth player for them. Again, it's hard for these young guys to get big minutes in a professional league. This is a legit hockey league, so these young guys, they got to battle. But fortunately for him, in the World Junior Championship, he's probably, I would say, maybe middle six. So he's going to get a little bit of an ice time boost than he's kind of been used to in the SHL. So we'll see what he can do. Again, this is his first tournament last year, just unfortunate for him, but we'll see what he can do. And then the last guy, Shane Vansagi, a 2025 second round pick. He'll be playing for USA if he makes the cut. And he's a very fun player, very physical. And that's huge in these tournaments. He's a heavy forechecker, and he plays much bigger than his size, than his age would indicate. He's a very young but super physical player, and very, very fun to watch.
Yeah, lots of exciting players, and some they're going to make obviously a bigger impact than others. Porter Martone and Luchenko, probably the two biggest ones there. And yeah, Martone's I think going to have a heck of a tournament. I think he could have like a Ryan Leonard type. I don't know. I think he could potentially be that, because I think he's close to the NHL right now. So it's going to be interesting to see how much of an impact he makes on Team Canada, but I think it's going to be a big one for sure. So we'll look forward to that. That's about 2 weeks away as we're recording. It's less than that. It's a week and a bit. So yeah, we're coming up pretty fast to the World Juniors, and that's always fun to watch. And we'll see how all these players do once that gets going. All right. Well, thanks, Justin, for coming on and talking Flyers as always. And make sure to check out everything at thehockeyrush.com. We got great articles throughout the website on the Flyers and all the other teams if you want to take a look at all that. And of course, the prospect coverage and the World Juniors coverage will be, if you want to keep track of all these players, make sure you're checking out all of our World Juniors stuff. We will have out, we already have a ton out, but as the tournament is going, and subscribe to our Substack newsletters, both the Flyers and, of course, the prospects and draft newsletter, which will keep you up to date with all the World Junior stuff as well. But until our next video, we will see you next time.